YouTube, I come once again bearing you good tellings and good fortune as we discuss a new indie animation. What's it with YouTube? It is I, Jordan, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about a new pilot that dropped like yesterday, 2 days ago by the time this video comes out, called Catching Up. This series was created by Alice Mark, who is a YouTuber whose videos I have checked out from time to time, and he does like similar stuff to what I'm trying to do here. You know, he reviews shows and movies and things of that nature, and so there's a little irony to be had about a YouTuber who makes review content, you know, critiquing cartoons, then coming onto the unseen and putting his one cartoon forward. And I have to respect him for that. No matter what, even if the show is terrible, we have to give him props for that. So can we please get a little round of applause going? Yes, please, let's. Yup. So before we get into the good and the bad, let's talk firstly about I just want to set the record straight at the start of this video that indie animation itself is a fantastic thing. It's really brilliant that people who have the passion to make these shows can gather like-minded people and just make it happen, right? Like, they don't need studio backing, they don't need to have corporate behind them to make some good. And in cases like Has-Been Hotel, they can be picked up and turned into actual series, because it's also telling that even though Has-Been Hotel has its own original, has its own series with Amazon Prime Video, Helluva Boss doesn't, but they still upload regularly and people still watch it regularly and they have big fan bases, and I think that's a beautiful thing. We're at the point now where some people might make an argument like, oh, there's so much like indie animated stuff in this space, it's getting oversaturated. I don't think that'll ever be the case, truly. Like, even if the catalog gets as big as like 400 different series, it's nowhere near that big, but we're just saying what if. I will still ride that indie animation needs more projects, man. It really does. But that's just my take on the thing, that's just what I wanted to say. So without further ado, let's get into I'll start this out the jump. The pilot looks good. Okay, let's start from there. This pilot is the best looking thing I've seen pilot wise from any animation I've seen on YouTube. It's the best looking in terms of how polished it is and how close to a real cartoon it looks. It looks like an alternative version of The Amazing World of Gumball. I like The Amazing World of Gumball, so I like this, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it doesn't feel derivative of anything. It doesn't feel like a direct copy or parody of anything in particular. It's its own thing, and it's a good thing. You know what I mean? The character designs are pretty endearing. I mean, it's a cat and a mouse. Like, we see that dynamic a lot, but there's still interesting characters, and they already set up some character dynamics in the first episode. Like, the cat's like the sad mopey friend, the mouse is the outgoing, try things and try to drag his friend along, which I can relate to both sides of, and so I appreciate these characters, and I think that they have real chemistry, and I would really like to see more so that this is fleshed out further. Like, what made them become these roles? Like, did the cat used to be outgoing? You know, things like that. The jokes also are I can't lie, for the most part they're pretty funny. For the most part, like, the ones that they set up as jokes actually land for the most part. Notice I'm saying for the most part. This is not a perfect pilot, let's not get that twisted, but for the most part the jokes are pretty good. But let's be honest here, right? You didn't come on this video to hear me talk about indie animation or to hear me praise the show. What you really want to hear about is the show. Let me tell you guys something, right? I've watched a lot of animation in my day, to the point where I can usually tell how a plot line's gonna go. Even if like to you it's like a very original thing, I can just like sense the director's intention, so to speak, and predict what's gonna happen. And usually my prediction is the best case scenario to make it like as entertaining as possible. And I can't lie, the show was entertaining, but like the end of the episode and certain directions they took was really not expected by me, and so I didn't really enjoy them that much. It was kind of plain the way it ended, to be honest, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, that's not purely negative a thing to have, being plain, but it just doesn't add much to the show for me. And outside of the plot itself, I think the directing on a whole, like the episode direction, could use a little work. Like, to put it bluntly as can be, it needs a little work. Like, there were moments in the show and episode that were just dead silence. Like, and it's not to say it's like the comedic type that like a Smiling Friends would have, for example. It was just silence, and it was kind of awkward, I can't lie. So those little like dead areas of the episode kind of threw me out of the immersion, if I'm being honest. But hey, compared to some other things, the bad ain't that bad, and the good is pretty good. So I guess all that's left to do is to give it a overall rating score. If you know where that's from, then leave it in the comments down below. And as I said, the cons aren't too negative, to be honest, and the pros are pretty pro. They're pretty pro. So I think a good place to put it is an 8.5. Like, genuinely, this was one of my favorite pilots I've seen. I've seen a lot of pilots. I've seen a lot. And this is one of my favorite pilots I've seen. So to LS Mark, you're not gonna watch this video because it's probably gonna get like 12 views. But hey man, you did good. You're okay in my book. If you need a new like episode director, I have some experience. That's gonna do it for today's video. But as per the usual, I'm gonna need you guys to do this along with me as I say it, or just repeat after me. If you like the video, and if you really like the video, then subscribe. It's that simple. Leave in the comments down below if you want me to watch anything else. I have a video in the works about the Fairly Odd Parents reboot, so if you're excited for that, let me know. And yeah, with all that being said, you keep being you, and I'll just be Jordan. Peace.